right, breaking news for just a moment. We are remembering, of course, the one and only former Houston Mayor, Congressman Sylvester Turner. Now, we want to show you not only a number of condolences that are coming in, but also there are a number of moments that we've been able to capture as we've been talking about this all morning long. When we first heard the news at 9:09 this morning from Houston's mayor that Sylvester Turner had passed away. Here's the moment that Houston Mayor John Whitmire made that announcement.
It's my duty as the mayor to confirm that Congressman Sylvester Turner, our former mayor, state representative for 24 years, passed away last night. He was working in Washington and was taken to the hospital, and he passed.
You can hear moments of his voice breaking up. We're talking about Houston Mayor John Whitmire confirming the passing of former Mayor Sylvester Turner, who died after being hospitalized following a work trip to Washington, D.C. yesterday. Now, you may remember that we actually had a chance to show video of that, and we're going to get to that in just a moment. But in his honor, flags at city buildings across the city will now fly at half-staff, and businesses in Houston are being encouraged to do the exact same thing. You also may remember, for those of you who don't know, Turner was diagnosed with cancer in 2022, underwent surgery and radiation treatments. And in 2023, he expressed his strength saying, quote, "Spirit is strong. Faith is strong. I am feeling pretty good. Appreciate people's prayers and positive thoughts." Just last night, in an exclusive interview with our cameras, Turner stood in support with a mother from the Houston area in his own district. And they talked about the cost of health care and what the Trump administration is doing that makes it challenging for parents like her. Take a listen to what both of them had to say.
What we have already heard was that there are going to be a lot of cuts in order to pay for the tax breaks for those who are doing quite well. And the Republicans just passed the budget, at least step one, that's going to reduce Medicaid by $880 billion.
And right there, he was standing next to Angela Hernandez, who he invited to Washington to listen to that joint meeting of Congress as President Trump was speaking last night. Now, let's go on to this. Mayor John Whitmire releasing another statement on the passing of Congressman Sylvester Turner, saying this, quote, "A remarkable public servant who impacted millions of people. He rose from poverty, but never forgot where he came from. It is a terrible loss for the city and a personal loss for me. I ask Houstonians to celebrate his life." Here's Harris County Commissioner Rodney Ellis on Turner's passing, saying, quote, "My sincere condolences to Ashley and the Turner family. Houston mourns the loss of our servant leader, proud Native son, dedicated father, and dear friend. Thank you, Sylvester Turner, for all you gave of yourself to serve Houston, Texas, and this nation. We, the people, are all better off because you chose to dedicate yourself to a life of public service. You also advanced the continuous struggle to make this nation as good as its promise of freedom and justice for all." Now, let's show you a picture of Sylvester Turner just days before the sad announcement came. He made an appearance at this year's Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo Parade right there. In fact, dozens of tributes continue to pour in, as I just mentioned, following his passing of former Houston Mayor and Congressman Sylvester Turner. We're getting a chance to sit down and speak with some of those people today who worked very closely with him for years and hear the positive impact he made on their lives as well. I'm so honored to have Karen Franklin here along with James Bell. Thank you, both of you, for coming in on such short notice.
Thank you.
And for people who have known him for decades, I know this is hard for a lot of us. I met him when I first moved back to Texas. I'm originally born and raised here. When I moved back in 2007, he was always kind and willing to do interviews and talk. But for you two, it's a little different. Let's start with you, Karen. First of all, explain to our audience right now what organization you work with and how you first met Sylvester Turner.
Thank you, Sharon. It's definitely a hard day for everybody. And for myself, first and foremost, I have to extend our dearest condolences to Ashley, the entire Turner family, and his grandbaby. And everyone that he touched, which was millions.
It was.
As it has been so well referenced. In terms of myself, being able to be in front of him, his contagious spirit, taking kids to Austin to be a part of the Texas legislative session, as we do every session, for him to see his community genuinely through the eyes of whoever was in front of him, each and every time. It was remarkable, and for me to be able to be a part of his footprint as a City of Houston employee when he served as our mayor, he told me when he was running he wanted to be transformative. And he continued that in that space. And with the World Youth Foundation, he loved hard, and he loved good. He kept us all in good trouble. And for us and for myself to be able to bear witness of the good work that so many have already echoed, it has truly have been an honor and a joy. He not only has been a leader in my eyes, a friend, a big brother, and I baked for him. You know, we had, as you'll have an opportunity to share in a little bit, we were with him on Friday night. You know, he loved the rodeo.
Yes, he did. He did.
And he loved to get on the dance floor. And being able to share a moment with Victor Washington, the owner of Washington and Sons, Boots and Blues, Boots and Blues team. He was out and he hung out on the stage with Step Rito and played.
There's a picture right there.
Okay. Oh my, yeah. Okay. And he was playing that board and just celebrating life. But I'm reminded that he would tell us that live life to the fullest, as he did. And no matter what our number may be, leave it all out on the field. And Turner, you did that.
You sure did.
Each and every day that you bared witness to each of us. And you reminded us that it doesn't stop there. And we will continue to celebrate his life and his legacy and all that he departed in us to be the champions of all, as he championed for all the people. And I am better, and we as an organization is better because of him.
And I want to come back to you in just a second here, but I also want to bring you in, Mr. Bell, to talk about, first of all, introduce yourself. I just did, but tell people what organization you were part of and how you knew him, because you knew him on several different levels, just as Karen has as well, but in several different capacities. So tell people about that.
Well, first of all, definitely my condolences to the Turner family. Just a deep, deep loss. And thank you also for having us on this morning. I came to know Sylvester Turner, Mayor Turner, Representative Turner, back in the late 1995, I want to say it was. Currently, I work with Harris County Community Supervision Corrections Department, also known as Harris County Adult Probation. But prior to me coming back to the county, I worked for the City of Houston Health Department, where I was the administration manager for the Community Reentry Network program. And one thing I will say about our mayor, forever Mayor Sylvester Turner, is that he believed in fighting for those who could not fight for themselves.
Absolutely.
He was a champion for the people. He's the people's champion. He had a deep interest and compassion for those who have been touched and impacted by the criminal justice system. A lot of times people make bad choices and they pay their debt to society. But Representative Turner, Mayor Turner, believed in people's capacity to change. And he believed with all his heart that if providing the resources and hope, then people would change. I recall that he would always come to our graduations. For a lot of our clients, it was the very first time they ever completed anything in their lives. And he would show up, he would hug the babies, he would hug the grandmothers, and he would make a speech that will bring tears to your eyes every time. What I will remember most about him is that he was a servant for all people, regardless of your background. If there was a need, he was boots on the ground.
Always.
Even with his diagnosis of cancer, I recall telling one of my colleagues that he never takes a day off.
I know, right?
Mondays through Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays, whether it was an appearance, whether it was a dedication, he was for the people.
Right.
And as I was driving in this morning, I got the news, as most Houstonians, and just a deep sense of loss. It's going to be one of those occasions where you will recall in 20 years from now where you were, what you were doing when you got that message that our beloved Sylvester Turner had transcended, a transition. And so with that, I will always miss his compassion for the people. I can see his smile right now. I first met him when he was in the State House, and he was always interested in criminal justice and criminal justice reform. And he would say, James, you know, what can we do to help the people? What can we do to help the people? He was always connected with the people. He never forgot his roots. He will proudly say he was from the faux, not the 404, but the faux. He never forgot Acres Home. And he just made me so proud. Every time I heard him speak, he always spoke hope.
Do you think it also, because bringing up the faux for a second, for those who don't realize that he is born, bred Houstonian native.
No question.
He is a son of Houston.
Yes.
So because of those roots are deep.
Very.
And a lot of people have that connection because of it. Even people who are not from Houston, who now live here, recognize that from him.
Right.
Do you think that also was a reminder to a lot of people on why he was so important to this city? Because he always reminded people, this is me, this is who I am, I'm from here, so I need to continue to lift that up. You want to say something about
no
that?
question, Sharon. And he wanted people to see that no matter where you come from, and I'm from Houston, I represent Houston, so therefore I carry Houston.
Yes.
And he was very proud of that, and he did it exceptionally at every front. And that was his core, and people recognized that, and it mattered. And when you're from a community, as he was very proudly pronounced that he was every time, he reflected that, and it mattered. And he felt that commitment and obligation to carry Houston forward through his lens, through his ability, which was very significant on all that he was able to do in God's journey.
You also mentioned about, both of you have, about the connection he had with the community and how he was always trying to help. Does it bring some, I guess, a little bit of goodness in your heart knowing that the very last thing he did was helping an individual from this community?
Yes.
His
Absolutely.
last breath was that news conference that he had with us in DC, trying to lift up and bring a face, put a face to somebody who is trying to help their own child with Medicare. And he was standing by her, still helping, when hours later he would no longer be with us. Knowing that, what does that say to you in your head? How does that make you feel personally, knowing and seeing what you just saw, that his last breath was still saying, I am going to help this woman who's struggling to make sure her child has the best life possible?
That speaks volumes. I recall hearing him doing certain speeches. He would talk about this little old lady, I can't recall her name, but every Sunday at Sunday school, she would say, come here, little boy. And she would put a nickel in his pocket.
I remember that.
And that carried him to Harvard, as he would say, Harvard. Harvard, right?
I heard about that.
And so I think it started back then, giving. And he learned what Scripture tells us, to whom much is given, much is required. So even until his dying day, he was a faithful servant. And what that tells me is that James, it's time to continue the race.
That's right.
He's passed the baton on to the next leaders.
No question.
Run the race. run a good race and fight the good fight for those who can't fight for themselves. So that tells me, I'm not surprised that he was helping and serving up until the very last. And I don't know this, but I suspect that he probably saw his days coming to the end. Most people would have gone into a corner, probably, I don't know, felt sorry for themselves. But what did he do? He fought the good fight. He helped. He served until his very last breath left him.
Yeah. And to your point, for me, yes, absolutely. That goodness was definitely felt when I learned what happened, sadly and unexpectedly. But just, it gave me that reminder of who he was and that he heard, my good and faithful servant, job well done.
Now, we're going to wrap up in a few more minutes, but I've noticed with a lot of the condolences and the wonderful, nice comments that are coming out from so many people who he impacted their lives. I heard, of course, from our current mayor, he mentioned how Sylvester Turner made him a better mayor that he is today. He made him a better orator and a better speaker. And if it wasn't for Sylvester Turner, John Whitmire would not be the mayor that he is right now. That's what he said today. So for each one of you, can you tell us, you've told us so many great stories about what he's done, but personally, what is one moment in time you had with him that you're willing to share, that you would like to share with us in order to remember Sylvester Turner?
Oh my gosh, for myself, I can just reflect on last Friday when we were at the Boots and Blues tent. He said, baby girl, I always love seeing you. Thank you for serving. And I said, Congress member, we're behind you and we stand with you. And because of you, we stand.
And James, what about you?
I will always remember, he pulled me to the side once. He said, I know you're from Louisiana. I really don't know your background. But what I sense from you is that you have the heart of a servant. James, people need you. Always be a great listener. And more than being a great listener, be an even greater doer. Don't just listen to the people, but do what the people ask you to do with every resource that you have.
And one last thing before we go. If you could talk to him right now, what would you tell him?
Member, thank you. Thank you for seeing us and loving us as a community. Thank you for being that champion. Thank you. And no, we got you.
James?
Likewise. Thank you for modeling what servant leadership looks like. Thank you for never forgetting your roots. And thank you for investing in me and showing me what it looks like to be a servant of all.
Yes.
Reminder, when it comes to anyone who comes through our life,
yes, ma'am,
the moments that you remember are going to stay with you. But those moments are also a reflection of the legacy he's left behind.
Absolutely.
So every word, every thought, every time you think of him, you'll remember him, but also every time you walk, any memory that he says that you pass along, that is him that you're passing along to.
No question.
So I want to thank both of you for being here to share this moment with us, as tragic as it is.
Yes.
It is also important to remind this community of the legacy of Sylvester Turner.
Absolutely.
And we want to thank you for doing that with us. And just a reminder, everyone, we will have more of the wonderful comments that are coming in, the tributes, all of the memories that are coming in to remember Sylvester Turner, not only our congressman, but two-time Houston mayor of the city of Houston, and more importantly, a son of the city of Houston, who represented all of us with all that he had. You can always continue to follow us on CW39.com, as we'll have more coverage of this, as well as in our shows tomorrow, starting at 5:30 a.m. right here on CW39 Houston.